Hey folks, it's Teresa from Stringfield Ridge Farm and Fancy. Today I wanted to tell you how I am going to make money in my retirement. So I am semi-retired right now, and I have started working on the things that I'm going to do to make money in my retirement, in my semi-retirement right now. So right now I have about 4 things that I'm working on to make money, and one of those will end when I do retire. But then I should have my retirement coming, hopefully, from Social Security, and hopefully, and if I do, that will help some too. But I have more. I have 4 things right now, but I have a whole list of things that I can go through quickly and tell you some of the things I have in mind if I need to do them. And so there's 4 I'm doing right now. We'll go over those, and I'll tell you some of the other possibilities that I could have. First off, I worked at the newspaper, and a lot of you know that. If you've watched my channel before, you probably know that I worked at the newspaper. I have been in the newspaper business for 30 years. I've been at the job am currently at for 16 years. I have been the layout person, editor, writer, delivery, everything. I've done everything in the newspaper business you could do, I guess. So now after 16 years, I went to part-time, but part-time was still ending up being a little more than I wanted, because I wanted to do some of my homestead things like gardening and canning and foraging and YouTubing and, raising my animals. So I was spending more time still, even at part-time work, than I wanted to. So I had told my boss I was going to retire in October when I turned 62. I'm going to take early retirement. And he suggested that I go to freelance writing. And he said I could freelance write from now until October, or even after October, if I still want to freelance write, I can still do that. So even after my retirement, I could still do a little freelance writing and cover local meetings and events and, ribbon cutting, grand openings at businesses and things like that. So that's what I'm doing now. Just started doing that 2 weeks ago. So if I write, and I'm gonna give you some numbers as I go, so you kind of know what you're looking at as far as money-wise on some of this. So for freelance writing at my place of business, at my work, they pay freelance writers, depending on the article and how many pictures you have with your article, pictures that you took yourself, you can make up to $25 per article. So if I can write 7 articles a week with a couple of pictures for each article, and they have to use them. They don't pay you just to write them. They have to actually use them. So it has to be a good story that they want in there, and that they use your pictures. So if I can do that, and so far I have the 2 weeks, 7 articles a week, I can make $700 a month. If they use it all and use all my pictures, I can possibly make $700 a month doing that. So I'm gonna say that if you're not experienced at that, you might not get that much, and you might not be able to write that many per week. So that's kind of you can try it. It could even be possibly something you know a lot about, like say backyard chickens. You can write an article, send a couple of pictures into your local newspaper and ask them if they would be interested in using some of your freelance articles, and ask them what they pay for freelance articles. And a lot of small local newspapers that are usually weeklies will do that. You can use programs on your computer that will help you with the grammar and the punctuation and all that. And it will spell check for you and even show you most punctuations. It's not great with commas, and I'm terrible with commas, but yeah, there you go. And most of the newspapers have a proofreader that will read over it anyway and fix things. So there you go. Number one, that's number one, is freelance writing. So, you know, fortunately, I've been in that business for a long time and can do that easily. And I'm already set up in that. But say you can't do freelance writing, here's some other things. So egg sales. Egg sales are not great at all, but they do pay at least enough for feed. And we free range, so we don't use a whole lot of feed. So that is a benefit for us, that we do free range and don't use as much feed. So I have been selling about 6 dozen eggs a week. Now, I did have quite a downtime through winter where I wasn't getting enough to even sell. So this is not year round. This would be seasonal. But the eggs, I can sell about 6 dozen a week, which gives me, and that's at $4 a dozen. I am selling them for $4 a dozen, and at that I can make $96 a month. And be sure you always ask them to save your egg cartons, because you don't want to run out of egg cartons and be like, oh, please help, I need egg cartons, because I've done that too. Okay, so there's $700 a month, $96 a month in egg sales. And then I make products. So I make herbal products. I am a certified herbalist. And I make products like jewelweed salve. I make jewelweed soap and salve. And I do make, my soap is lye and lard soap that I put jewelweed oil in. And it's really easy. You'd be surprised how easy it is. It does take 30 days to set up a batch of soap that is made with lye. So like it's I do the hot method. I heat my oils, and my lye in my water heats up, and then you mix that. I think I have a video showing how to do that I will link in the description or at the end of this video if you want to see how to do that. I'm pretty sure I have a video on that. But there's lots of videos out there if I don't. So look that up, and it don't have to be jewelweed. Jewelweed is good for poison ivy, poison oak, all that stuff that itches you. It draws out that oil in the poison ivy, poison oak, all that. But it's also great for eczema. I have people that bought it and started using it and come back all the time because it helps with their eczema. Wild jewelweed that we grow, that grows wild here, so that cost me nothing. And I started making some other salves. I have a comfrey salve. I grow comfrey, so that's free. You know, the olive oil's not free. The beeswax is pretty cheap. The vitamin E oil is very cheap. So I have comfrey. I have a black drawing salve that is made out with activated charcoal that draws out splinters and boils and things like that, poisons. So anyway, I started selling them on Etsy first. And I have several other products. I started selling on Etsy first. The problem with Etsy is they take some fees and you have to ship it. And most times the shipping is as high as the product on something like this. Like, I only charge $6 for my salves, and the shipping is usually around $5.50. So on Etsy, they are paying $11.50 for a salve or a soap. It's better. I put mine to where if they order more than one product, it's the same shipping price. So that helps a little, because then people will go ahead and buy two at least. But if they don't buy two, and I've had a lot of people only buy one, they had to pay $11.50 for it instead of $6 that I would charge anywhere else. I also sell them at a local store. So I've taken them to a couple of events and set up a small little table with some of my stuff, because I don't make a whole lot at a time. I just made 8 of these this morning. I don't like to make huge batches at a time. So in my soaps, I make 6, 7, 8. My soaps make 8 soaps at a time for my batch. And I can double that one. Sometimes I double the soap. It's just harder to work with more. So I do, I made 8 salves and 8 soaps this morning by 10 o'clock. By 10 o'clock, I'd made 8 soaps and 8 salves. And at $6, I don't make a whole lot off of them. I could go up just a little and make more money off of them, but I'd rather them sell and make a little money than them not sell. So I keep the price low so they sell. Now I'm in a local store. They will just pay the $6. That's what's awesome about being local in a local store or setting up at an event, is they only have to pay the $6. You can sell a whole lot more of them that way because they don't have to pay the shipping. And if you can get in a store, you don't have to be there. I don't even have to be there. She's set up a little corner for me and put my products in there. And she's going to give me my price, plus she bumped it up just a little. And good thing is, she didn't bump it up double like some stores. Some stores would want to charge double. So if I wanted $6, they would charge $12. And then again, here you go with, it doesn't sell as well. She only bumped it up a couple of dollars so that it still sells good, and she makes a little bit and I make mine, you know. So I think I have about 8 products that I make. I can't think of what else right offhand. I made a plantain salve, comfrey salve, black drawing salve, which is the activated charcoal, the jewelweed, the soap. I've got a couple others. I've done a tea blend. I grow lemon balm and lavender, and I grow a lot of herbs. I used 3 or 4 of my herbs, dried, mixed them together, and made a tea blend for stress relief. And then I took kind of the same blend and added, we have passion fruit growing, and I took some of the passion leaves, which helps you sleep, and I added that to the stress relieving tea and made a sleepy time tea. Okay, also that goes along with that, I didn't count this as a separate thing, but I could. This could be number 4. I started selling on eBay, and a lot of people do, and you may sell on eBay, but I have a lot of stuff. I want it to declutter anyway. I have tons of stuff in my house that's just collecting dust. And since I'm semi-retired and trying to find ways to make money, I opened my eBay shop, and I had one before a long time ago that I sold some stuff on, but I opened it back up. It was still there. I just had to kind of refreshen some information, and opened my eBay store back up. And I went around the house just looking for some of those dust collectors. And you just take a couple of pictures and get on your eBay, type in all the information, put a couple pictures on there. They do charge a small fee, like Etsy does, and it will be shipping just like Etsy. It's still that shipping price. But these are things that if somebody wants it, they'll pay the shipping because they really want it. It's stuff like, I put a vintage toy racing car on there that I found in an old abandoned house that we were given permission to take stuff out of. If somebody collects that kind of thing, they won't mind paying what I put on there and the shipping at all if that's what they collect and they want it, you know? So that kind of thing. I also put some shoes on there. I put about 5. I just started it the other day, so I haven't had time to do a lot on there. But I put a pair of shoes that I bought that were kind of tight on me and hurt my feet when I walked very much in them. I only wore them one time and they hurt my feet. I tried to wear them another time, but as soon as I kind of put them on and started to walk, I was like, oh, heck no, I can't do this. So they were like new, almost new, been wore 1.5 times, and they were a good name brand shoe. And I went on there and looked up to see how much those were going for, but those were nice enough that I thought, oh, hey, I can sell those on eBay. So there you go. So we're gonna say number 4. I was figuring on, as far as price, at $6 a piece, if I can just sell 5 a week, if I can just sell 5 products a week on one of those outlets, I can make $120 a month by doing that. $120 a month there. Okay, so then the last thing I have that I am doing is YouTube. So YouTube, if you get going at it and you're good at it, and I'm not, I'm not, but if you get going at it and good at it, you can make a lot of money. Now, for somebody like me that doesn't do a great job, and we did get to our monetization by going live. Lives will get you to the monetization. Go live all the time and do some videos. Like do 2 or 3 videos a week and go live at least once a week. And you will eventually get to the monetization. You got to have so many subscribers and so much hours watch time. The watch time you need lives. Right now, with what we've been doing lately, is about $100. You have to have $100 to get a payout. So they pay once a month, and you have to have $100 to get payout. Well, we've only been making that about every little over 2 months. We've made $100 with what we had been doing lately. At one time, when we were making 2 or 3 videos a week and going live, we had gotten up to making about $120 a month. And there's no reason why I can't do that again. I'm going to have to really work at it And now that I'm semi-retired, I should be able to do that. I'm going to try. So altogether, here's my total with what I'm doing now. And that's only counting YouTube at $50 a month. Altogether of what I've told you is $966 a month. And that is real close to what I was making working 4 days a week all day long. Here's some other things. So that's what all I'm doing currently. Lee does a lot of Native American crafts, and we are going to start making some more of those again. He is a flint knapper, and he makes arrowheads, and he makes really cool knives with the arrowhead. He also makes bows and arrows. We won't get into all that. That takes too long for him to do that, to sell. But also, he used to make dream catchers, and that was pretty easy. He even taught me how to do it. And so all you need is some sinew. We make them natural. You can make dream catchers in all different kinds of ways, but we were making them, and he likes to make them very natural to what the Native Americans would have done. So he takes grapevine and makes it into a circle. You have to soak it and make it into a circle. He takes his sinew and wraps around the ends to hold it together. And then you use the sinew to weave the dream catcher. And then you put natural looking feathers on there. Browns, feathers that are natural looking. You can use pinks and purples, and we don't like to do that. They would sell better, but we'd like the natural look, that it's more like what Native Americans would have done, and start trying to sell those at the store that's getting my products. I've already talked to her, and she said she would be glad to take some of his stuff. And of course on Etsy and eBay, we can sell those on there. So that's another thing we're looking at. So here's some other things, some other ideas that I could look at if I needed to, or somebody else, some ideas for someone else. Resale is big. Resale has become very big. And some people, so you can go to like yard sales and watch for really good items, like the shoes that I had. If I'd have put those shoes in a yard sale and put what I paid for them just so I could get my money back, you could buy those. You look at them and know it's a name brand and know they haven't hardly been used. You buy those and then resell on eBay and you can find all kinds of things at yard sales that will sell good. You can also do marketplace. Everyone on Facebook, you have a marketplace, and a lot of people do that on there. And on there, you might not have the shipping because you can meet somebody locally and sell it to them and not have that shipping cost. So resale, that's a very good way to make some money, and I may do some of that. Right now I'm reselling my stuff on eBay. But when I run out of my stuff to sell on eBay, I might have to start looking at the yard sales and getting some things. So also teaching classes. So you don't know how many people I have had ask me to teach them how to make the soaps and salves that I make. You can do a class on so many things, and I haven't, but I would love to. At least I would love to show people how to make the soaps and salves, but you can also do canning, foraging. I could teach people foraging. Me and Lee, especially, either one of us knows a lot of foraging, but especially together, we really know a lot of foraging. There's certain things he knows better than I do, and certain things I know better than he does, but we could teach a class on it for sure. There's other things, like I said, canning, the soap making, foraging, survival. We had thought about doing a survival camp because Lee is definitely a survivor. He can make fire with 2 sticks and so many other things that he can do that are survival things that he definitely could do, teach a survival camp. And in the survival camp, we could teach how to go out in the woods and find enough to eat to sustain you. So, okay, moving on. Farmers market. There's so many things you could sell at farmers market. And I may do that a little bit too this summer. There's lots to sell. I could sell my products, crafts, animals. If we have rabbits, if I wanted to raise a litter of rabbits and sell this small bunnies at the farmer's market, or even chickens or chicks. Anyway, you can sell animals, crafts, my products I make, plant starts, spring and fall, be a good time to do plant starts, and then produce. And produce is what you think of at the farmer's market, like tomatoes and cucumbers and watermelons, that's what you think of at the farmer's market, but they sell so much more at farmer's markets. Breads, if you can make good bread, you can sell breads and baked goods, and you could do every Saturday. If you don't want to take up your time every Saturday, you could do one Saturday a month and just really round up everything you've got that you can sell and load it up good and go once a month. And the more stuff you have, the more you're going to make there. So, you could just do that one Saturday a month. Okay, couple of others that I probably would never do. Just doesn't sound like something I would do, but an idea for someone else. Lots of people scrap metal. You can make a lot of money scrap metaling. I knew a guy when I was growing up, and I don't know how much metal goes for now. I know people still collect cans, aluminum soda cans, aluminum cans. People still do that. But when I was growing up, I was probably about 15, 16. There was a guy that lived close to us that's all he done. He did not work. He scrap metaled, and he made good money. He made good money. He had a nice house, nice car, or truck, and that's all he done was go around. He would go to people's, if he seen scrap metal out in somebody's yard, he would go ask them, do you want me to haul that off for you? And probably, I'm going to say 8 times out of 10, people would let him haul it off just to get rid of it. And then he would go to the dump. Of course, back then, that was a long time ago. Back then, they just had dumps. There would be places where you could just go dump, and you can't do that anymore. Used to. There was places where there were just dumps on the side of the road. And he would go there and dig through and find scrap metal and cans and make a lot of money. He made really good money. He might as well worked a 40-hour-a-week job. Anyway, another thing that my dad done this for a little while, and he worked and done this too. My dad was a worker. You probably couldn't name something he didn't do. He foraged and gardened and truck patched, you call it. They used to call it truck patching. He would grow a bigger garden and then load stuff on the back of his truck and just drive through town selling produce off the back of his truck. He also fished and trapped. So fishing, you can sell fish. Trapping, I don't know that a lot of people do that anymore, but he used to trap, and he would trap like coons and muskrats. What? Mink, not muskrat. He probably hunted muskrat too. Mink, if he ever got a mink he was in the business. He had lots of money. So he was always looking for a mink. But, and he got a few. I remember a few times that he got mink, and that brought good money. And then coons, he would have 30 coons and a mink, and take them and sell them wherever you sold them to. I don't know all of that. Wherever he sold them to. And he also hunted ginseng and golden seal and bloodroot. And there was an old lady that lived a couple of counties over that bought those. So he would have to hunt them and dig them up and clean them, dry them out, and then once they were dried good, he could take them to her, and she would pay him a certain amount, and she had lots of people that were bringing her that stuff, and then she would package it up in big packages and send it off to who knows where, and make more money off of it. So that's some of the things that I'm doing, or some other things that you can do. There's so much out there you can do. You just have to get creative and think and decide what works best for you. And don't get overwhelmed. Here's my advice, is don't get overwhelmed. Don't think that you can do 20 things and make more money. I feel like it's better to stick with 4 or 5 things and do them well, instead of overwhelming yourself and trying to do everything. So I had a whole lot of lists here I went through, and I have on my phone, I have even more lists of things you can do that I didn't write down. But if you'd done them all, you would be overwhelmed. You'd be working too much. You might as well go back to working a 40-hour-a-week job if you're going to do everything. So instead, stick with a few things. That's one reason I'm sticking with like 8 products. I could do so many more products, but I wouldn't have time. And it would be overwhelming and take too much time. So I'm sticking with about 8 products. That's all I'm going to make. I'm just going to make a whole bunch of those 8 products. And then, you know, the 4 things I listed. We just have to think of all the things that we could do to make money if we don't want to work a 40-hour-a-week job. So there you go. I hope this helps somebody. And y'all give me a thumbs up and comment and subscribe and watch for those lives. I plan to go back to doing Tuesday lives at 11 Central. Thanks for watching.